Welcome to a new episode of Depreciation Nation, and behind me you are actually going to see the car that introduced both Dareth and I to each other. Now, I've had this car longer than I've had any other car on the channel, and I have been hiding it from our audience because I really didn't think that it fits the nature of our channel, and the reason for that is that I bought this car brand new. Now, this is my 2019 S3, currently has 11,500 miles on it, and my wife and I purchased this car as a leftover 2019 last year, meaning that we got all of the factory warranty, we got all of the goodies that go with a brand new car purchase. As this was a leftover model, there were plenty of incentives attached to this, which actually made it less expensive than a used one. Now, the story about this car is rather interesting, and that is something that we will get into on the drive. However, it is finished in a rather rare color on this particular vehicle called Aura Metallic Blue. Audi puts this on a very limited number of cars, and so you will not see it as often as you think you might. Now, this particular car shares platforms with the Volkswagen Golf R, 292 horsepower, 7-speed dual clutch transmission, and as a result of that, the numbers do not make this appear to be very exciting. Sure, it's electric to look at, sure, it looks fast, but the numbers just aren't that strong in a market where just about every sedan under the sun can be had with 300 horsepower. However, this car defies the odds in a number of different ways, and it posts performance numbers that are much stronger than just horsepower figures would imply. So we consider at the moment this to be one of the better performance bargains available. Audi has just announced the new S3 that is going to replace this one, and as a result, these cars can be had for as low as the high teens right now as far as purchase prices go, and they are still new enough that at that price point you may retain some of the factory warranty. So let's take it for a ride and see what we think.
I'm so in love with you. You got me down again.
So here we are in my 2019 S3. The origin of this car is actually pretty interesting. This was another car that I had purchased out of nostalgia, as one of my first memorable test drives as a young adult was actually back in 2001 in a 2001 S4 that a local dealer had for sale that was brand new. And one of the salesmen was kind enough to allow me to take that car out for a test drive. And again, like so many of the other cars that have been featured on this channel, it made a lasting impression with me. Now, prior to establishing Depreciation Nation, my wife had really wanted an Audi, and I really wanted something else that was interesting, and so a car that hit my radar was one of the old neglected V8 S4s with the 6-speed manual. And as is common with so many of those neglected cars, That car had timing issues as it had spent its entire life in the South. The paint was faded. It was black. It was just a very uninteresting spec. And I knew that it was going to be a very large project. And as it was going to take an entire respray to get it where it needed to be, I told my wife that if we were going to do a respray, we were going to respray the car in an interesting color. And so she agreed, and colors started hitting our radar. And Aura Blue Metallic is the color that I kept mentioning. I had seen it once in person. It was just an absolutely spectacular color, and she had not seen it, so she wanted to see an example of it. And as lo and behold, or as the result would be, the local dealership had this car as a leftover 19, deeply discounted, and ultimately we decided to go ahead and make the purchase of this particular car. We forewent the project of the V8 S4, and as a result of that, we have both been very happy with the outcome. Now, we initially bought this car to daily drive, but to be quite honest, it was very expensive. We lost a windshield early on, we ate a wheel early on, we ate a couple of tires, and as a result of that, we parked this car and we bought another car that was much more economical to drive. The quoted horsepower of 292 horsepower just is not that spectacular, considering that these days you can get a Camry that exceeds 300 horsepower and has all of the performance that anybody could ever want to extract from a four-door sedan. Having said that, the 7-speed dual clutch transmission on this car is really very good, and as a result of that, this car puts out some spectacular performance figures. 0-60 time of 4.6 seconds, and the figures get more and more spectacular from there. As a result of that, this is a car that is much quicker than most people would imagine. Our time with this car over the last 11,000 miles, aside from the windshield and the wheel on the tires that we previously mentioned, has really been drama-free. With returning, we drove this to Indiana just a few weeks ago, and we returned 34 miles to the gallon on the highway. That was figured at the pump and not at what the car thought that the car was returning fuel economy wise. The car has more than enough power to get out of the way of most things that are on the road today, and it just is a nice all-around car to drive, and perhaps one of the best performance cars currently on the market. Now, Audi just announced the replacement of this car, and as a result, the S3 is not in production at the moment. Prices are in the mid-20s to mid-30s on the used car market, and that price will net you plenty of performance, and a lot of these cars still have warranty left on them. So the sounds that it makes are great. It's got several different driving modes. Dynamic is what we run it in most of the time. We've got the magnetic ride, adjustable shocks and suspension, and the car can go from having a smooth, floaty ride to a hunkered down, very performance-oriented ride with handling to match. All in all, I am very excited that we have this car. When I say I'm very excited that we have this car, I tend to go through cars rather quickly because I get tired of them quickly, minus the cars that I chase for many years, and typically I tend to hang on to those cars for a while. I have had this car for quite a while, and I don't intend for it to go anywhere anytime soon. And so that is the 2019 S3. So that is our 2019 Audi S3, another car we are going to classify as a performance bargain due to the spectacular and stellar performance that this particular vehicle provides at such a low price point. So, we hope you enjoyed today's video. Be sure to hit that subscribe button at the bottom of your screen so that you don't miss more awesome content like this, and we'll talk to you soon.